Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Elise is off tonight. The fight in Congress over health care reform expected to continue into 2026, with members of Congress now in recess for the holiday season. It comes as millions of Americans on the Affordable Care Act can expect to see their premiums rise starting January 1st. This week, Republicans approved a bill in the House to make changes addressing the higher cost of health care, but without extending those ACA tax credits. New at 10, I spoke to Congressman Tony Wied about his vote and what this could mean moving forward. Passing by just a 5-vote margin, Congressman Tony Wied says his vote Wednesday night, backing the latest bill in the House addressing health care, goes beyond helping just people on the Affordable Care Act marketplace.
The vast majority of people get their health insurance, 164 million people get their health insurance on employer-sponsored plans. And where Democrats are focused on just 7% of the population, we're focused on everybody.
The Republican bill allows small businesses as well as self-employed people to band together across industries to buy coverage through association health plans in an effort to lower premiums. It would also provide cost-sharing subsidies that lower-income ACA enrollees receive to reduce their deductibles. And it would crack down on pharmacy benefit managers by requiring more transparency when it comes to the price of drugs and rebates being received from manufacturers.
Our goal is to continue with these reforms in early 2026 and again to help all Americans to lower prices for their health insurance premiums and provide more competition. That's what we need. There's very little competition in the health insurance market.
However, the bill has little chance of passing in the Senate, and it comes as Republicans experience infighting in their own party, as 4 members of the House have now joined Democrats in pushing for a 3-year extension of ACA premium subsidies, something Wied says he does not agree with.
We have all seen our prices continue to go up because of Obamacare. And I think that's what they feel. I don't agree. We agree on most things, but in that situation, I certainly don't agree with those folks.
Even if there is a vote to extend ACA subsidies for 3 years in the House, it's something that previously failed in the Senate. President Trump has also offered up a third solution of letting the subsidies expire, and instead money would be sent directly to people through health care accounts. Democratic Congresswoman Gwen Moore, who represents the Milwaukee area in the House, said in part, quote, "For 15 years, the Affordable Care Act has helped millions of Americans access high-quality health care coverage. It has saved lives. Building on its success, enhanced premium subsidies helped a record 24 million Americans access care. Now many of these Americans, including my constituents, are weeks away from facing soaring premium costs," end quote.